Hello everybody, welcome back to Spruverse, my scale model universe, people of Earth. Welcome to a very special edition, a sneak peek of what I've been working on behind the scenes. You know, oftentimes I'm building in the background for various different projects, sometimes for a client, sometimes for something I'm R&Ding. And this particular project I wanted to share with you, it's just a sneak peek of something that's going on in the background. I will do a video of it, probably as I get a little more into the weeds on what it's going to take to actually put this together. But let me tell you, so some of the history of this. I was always curious about whether or not we could find any files out there or a way to actually build some of the abyss, the flatbed, for instance, which is what this is, the actual underwater station itself. And I've been looking around, but I decided that I wanted to collaborate with my good friend Jeff Fink, who was the inspiration for helping me with my Dalek that I took to Wonderfest a couple of years ago. I did very well with it, actually. I managed to get a silver. It was a cutaway Dalek, and so we built that together. And we've worked on various other projects. He's an incredible talent. And I said, Jeff, I'm really interested in the flatbed from the Abyss, but not just any flatbed, the Ron Cobb version. Now, the Ron Cobb version ultimately didn't make it to camera. There was a lot of changes to it. But let me show you, this is the Ron Cobb vision. And you can find this online. You just Google Ron Cobb's flatbed and you'll find this. And if you compare this to what ultimately ended up on camera, you'll know that there are some significant differences. But I thought, you know, because production designers, creators, and wonderful talented artists, even like somebody I've had the pleasure of getting to know, the great Rick Sternbeck, from Star Trek fame. I just love working with art designers and creative concepts, and I thought for my collection it would be really fun to have a flatbed as conceived by Ron Cobb. Very cool. So Jeff and I set to work, and the way we work is we talk about the concept, we talk about the pros and cons of the concept. Of course, because it's going to be a model, how do we get inside it? How do we light it? What are the pros and cons? And we go through it, and I get some test files from him, and we print and we work and we change and we augment until we get something that we're both happy with. Now, I also do know that after this R&D session has been completed, this is going to get turned into a kit or certainly files that will be available in the new year. So you'll want to check out people like Keith's Cosmic Scale Models or 8K Miniatures, the great Sean Homer here in the US, to find out when this will be available. But it will be available. At least I'm hoping it'll be available. Okay, so let's take a look at what I have so far. Now, there's various different parts. Some of them have been glued together permanently and others haven't. This is lit. And one of the things that we're doing, and none of these parts underneath are glued together. They're just gingerly pushed in here because we're working on you know, a couple of things, and I'll talk you through what I'm talking about here. So this is the underneath, the business side of it, and you can see there's a lot of holes where I've actually put drain holes in that haven't been cleaned and smoothed. There are some holding areas here. These are for external lights. There'll be 4 of those in the bottom. And then the smaller inside are for more of the framework of it. There's lots of frames that have to go with this. You can see this little X is where we're working on a circle that has to be cut out if you're going to mount it. And I'm mounting mine, and I'll show you that in a minute. But that's kind of cool. The Ron Cobb version is very different to the version that ended up on camera. If you take a look at the actual production version, you'll notice that this got a lot more bulbous, and it had more of a tank underneath. So it became a very different animal, but basically the same. They just sort of changed it. Now there's going to be an interior in this as well, and we've been working on that, and that'll be really kind of cool. So you can see this is all sort of slowly coming together, and the idea is that all this framework actually sort of works together. And I've got to be careful here because I'm playing with it with one hand, and I can see it slowly falling apart here, which is okay because it's got to come apart anyway. But I wanted to share with you some of the things that we're playing with, because they're a lot of fun. The front of this has this wonderful dome. And what I've done is, or what we've done is we found a CCV light camera dome online. Perfectly clear, crystal clear, as opposed to a vacuum-formed piece that could have some bubbles in it, and you certainly couldn't print something like this. But this is in scale with things that are very readily available. And I don't know how the kit will turn out, whether these will be part of the kit. I suspect, obviously, if you buy a kit, this piece will come in the kit for you. And then there's this wonderful frame that is the locking nuts that sits on the front here. And if I tip this to camera, you'll see that this sits over the front beautifully like this. It's incredibly clear. It's wonderful. And then, of course, the final part that goes over this is this wonderful frame belt that crosses over it. All right, let me get all this out the way because I'm fingers and thumbs here, and that's okay. So this will essentially drop over this, and then put that back. This will drop over it like this, and then this frame drops over the top like this. And some of the things that we've been working on, and some of the challenges that you have, is obviously when you want to light a kit like this, you have to figure out where you're channeling your lights. So there are clear parts that will go over the square, and I've chosen yellow lights for all of mine. In the movie, I think they're red and green or something like that. I don't recall. But these are all just going to be yellow. And in the top here, you'll notice, I can actually pull this off, so it's actually a lot easier for me to work with. We've got this, the access port, and so there's a piece that just drops in here like this, and that's cool. And then there's the hatch that goes on top of that. And what you could do if you wanted to is you can have an on and off switch in here, so that you could actually you're able to turn it off and on from there. And I think that's sort of fun. And then in the back, you'll notice that there is an opportunity to put batteries in here. Now, of course, with my version, which is the test version, we're sort of figuring out what it takes to actually get the 9-volt in here. I have chosen ultimately to mount this. And in choosing to mount it, that came with some challenges as well. But when you have friends like the great Randy Cooper, you can get a base. Now this is, I don't know. I don't think this will come with a base, but I want to put this into view because this is the base that Randy Cooper designed and was kind enough to share the files with me. And we'll get to that in just a second. There's floor grates, and they drop in like this, like here, on both sides. If you recall in the movie, this is where your divers would stand. And then there are these wonderful little hinged rails that can be held onto, and they drop in here, and they will be pinned so that they can swing down if you choose to put them in the down position. And so that basically will look like that. and then it has some lights. It has 4 lights. It's going to have 2 floods in the front. If I show you, if we go back to Ron's design work, you'll notice in the bottom right-hand corner of this picture, you'll see the 2 floodlights that appear on top of the dome, just in front of your access port. And so we're gonna have those installed, and those will light. So there'll be 4 down lights on the wings. And if I remove these so they don't fly off and I lose them. I'm getting smarter in my old age. I know that I forget that everything will fall apart if I move it. But underneath, if I turn this over, again, you'll see that we've got, we're going to have 4 lights underneath in the wings, and I'll put those on cables so they look like they're diving into it, and those will be white. And then on the interior, there's a cockpit, and now I've printed some of my parts in clear, and they go on the sides here, and I can show you those up close. Let me get in close here and show you these wonderful clear parts that we have. So there's an opportunity to light up some of these gauges. I just printed mine in clear, and there's 2 sides, and then of course there's his chair. The chair that sits in the front there, and that sits here. Now, for me, I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to, as I said, actually present this, and I've decided to put it on this stand, and all my power is going to come through this stand, and so I had to create a hole in the bottom here, which was not in the original concept that we had come up with. But that now then just simply sits over here, and there's a brass rod over here. Here it is, and that brass rod sits over this, and that gives you your sort of your depth, and then this just sits in here like this. And then we bolt this on, and that's what that looks like. We have a table full of parts that I'd like to sort of take you through. This is part of the design process, obviously. Lots of railings, lots of wonderful details here that we're working on. Ron's design has some railings all the way around it, and referring back to our photo, you can see a lot of the wonderful design work that Ron has done. And of course, as you can see in this photo, very clearly there are some very unique call-outs, and Jeff has created those lovingly for me. The D2, these wonderful plates. You can either you can put your black down and then put these on top, or you can just do it on your own. There's a battery junction access panel sign, a couple of D2s, this very unique benthic for the top of the conning tower, and of course some other very little designs, including these little wonderful these wonderful little license plate covers for license plates. Very cool. You can see, of course, in here all of those call outs are in fact there, and a unique color palette as well. No yellow in this. Now ultimately I'm going to keep it white like this, because I will age it down a little bit as if it's been in the water, but that classic red color which we've used before, I use Vallejo's Rattle Can Gory Red. It's a wonderful red. It's not too bright. It has a little sort of darkness to it, a little brown to it. But it's really a nice color, and it'll work really well to get this as you can see it on his design. Very cool. Lots of stuff to work with, but you can see the process by which we ultimately put these things together. Obviously, our lights we're going to have to work on. We're going to have to run wires through all of our lights. We've got a couple of lights. We've got our down floods. We've got our top side floods here as well. Both unique and both different, but very, very specific to this build. And of course, there are other unique elements to this that are very, very unique to the Ron Cobb design that did not make it into the movie version. But that's why I wanted to do this. It's a wonderful conversation piece, and it's going to be an incredible opportunity for us to discuss it. Even down to, if you look here, you will notice on the top left-hand side, you'll notice that there is actually a couple of these little sort of oxygen bottles. And those oxygen bottles are here, and they're going to sit lovingly on either side, just as they do in the artwork. So again, picking out all those design elements. Now for the interior, I've created these little parts in clear. But ultimately, they're really just for us to get some blue light in, because the interior of the canopy, of the cockpit, I should say, that's just going to be in a blue wash. I'm not going to be doing too much, too fancy in there. But we've got these wonderful lenses here, and I'll show you what. These do have to be clear. And these lenses, they are for the exterior lights that go around the wings. So lots to play with here. Wonderful detail, and so much fun to be able to play with something like this and R&D it and get it to a point where you've got something that's incredibly unique. It's a great way to take a break from the various other things that we do. I will say one other thing too is I print on Elegoo printers. I've got my Saturn 4s, I've got some 16Ks, and I've got a regular 12K, and I'm patiently waiting for a Jupiter 2 that's coming out hopefully next year. It's going to have a 15-inch build plate, and I'm definitely going to add one of those to my print farm. But I wanted to talk about my ABS-like 3.0 Elegoo resin. I love it. Here is the gray, their regular rapid resin that I use just for prototyping and quickly testing something. But I found that this particular resin is incredibly brittle. Now, the reason why I do this all in the beige is because it's a lot friendlier for me to paint, and also when I'm doing figures as well, faces, it's nice to start with a face in the beige color. I like it. But this ABS 3.0, it's ABS-like from Elegoo. What I really like about it is it has a little bit of flexibility and it's not brittle. So if you were to drop this on the floor, it's not going to shatter. You can drill into it, and it has a little bit of flex. And what I mean by flex is I don't mean it bends, but I mean that if you drill on it, it's not going to chip or shatter. So I'm really a huge fan of their ABS 3.0 like resin. And so I could not be happier with that. I think it's a beautiful way to present Ron's work. So that is what we're doing. Now, in doing so, obviously, one of the things that happens is behind the scenes is you do find yourself you find yourself sort of refining things, sanding things, and then setting things aside, because obviously I'm doing other projects, as we know. But I think once in a while it's fun to really share with you what's going on on the back bench that we're working on. Some things have to be top secret because they're either for someone else or because I want to bring it to Wonderfest and don't want to share in advance what I'm bringing, for all kinds of reasons. But this isn't something that is going to Wonderfest. Now, I know Randy Cooper has built a movie version of this that will be, I believe, at Wonderfest. So if you want to see a really special piece of design work, check out Randy's work, because There's no one more talented, in my opinion, in that realm. So he's been kind enough to work with me on this project, and I'm very grateful to Randy for all of his support as well and his guidance. But I couldn't be happier than to know that I'm going to have this in my collection, because this is a really fun piece of movie memorabilia. And sometimes, you know, that's what it's all about, is building things, unique things, one-off things, or special things for yourself. And so that's what we're doing here. You know, the other thing I would say is part of the magic of 3D printers now is we're able to just journey off into worlds that we didn't know existed before, or we knew they existed and we could access them. So that's another reason why 3D printing is not only here to stay, but I believe it's going to get more accessible to more of you, and it's going to be faster and easier for us to access all kinds of different files, more than we could even think about now. So there's lots of exciting things coming down the pike for this hobby. I'll always be a big fan of sprue. I love good old-fashioned plastic kits, and I'll certainly come back on the channel and present to you my flatbed, my Ron Cobb flatbed, when we are finished. And I think that'll be sometime in January, I suspect. But hey, listen, as always, I wish all of you, please, be safe and be well. I hope you build something. Whatever's on your bench, please don't neglect it. Build it, because that's what it's all about. And I hope you have fun. You have an awesome new year. Be healthy, and we'll keep on going here. Take care, everybody. Be well.